Neves, aka Watch with Neves, and I'm here with my co-host Jazz, aka Gum Gum Jazz.
Gum Gum Jazz. I love that one.
Oh man, I like the way he says gamma gamma.
Mhm.
Like he says it
It,
different. He doesn't say gum gum. He goes gamma gamma pistol.
it's more accurate to the Japanese, so.
Oh, is that why?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was just putting like a Mexican accent to it.
No. It's in Japanese, Gomu Gomu no pistol or whatever, right? Like,
Oh, okay. Because
yeah.
in the sub version or the dub version of the anime is gum gum, and here he goes gamma gam. I like the
Yeah.
way he says it.
We
No,
never
definitely
talk
watch in
about the
Japanese.
we never talk about the dub versions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? You guys watch the subs? You guys don't watch the dubs?
Sub is literally
Nope.
the best. And they've
Nope.
had the same actors played for the last 20 years, which is amazing.
That's true. That's true. But I'm from a generation that's like always looking at their phone. So like it's hard for me to like read the screen at all times. But like I'll do it for like Attack on Titans because I don't want to be spoiled. But this show has been going on for so long that I don't mind it. At this point, I'm just trying to catch up. It's so hard to catch up. There's 1,000 episodes, guys.
Take your
I'm
time, bro. It's about the journey.
it's called a
Yeah.
journey. That is true.
It's not a race.
I plan to have them all watch before the next season. I think I could do it.
Oh, for sure, dude.
I think I could do it. Yeah, yeah. That'll be cool. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But yeah, let's get into episode 4. Luffy is poisoned. Dun dun dun. He's being carried out by the Marines, and Zoro is knocked out in a tunnel or a well.
Oh, well.
Nami
Well,
is hiding underneath I don't know, like a kitchen cabinet or something.
Mm-hmm.
And Usopp is trying to convince the Marines that the pirates are really Kahador. So tons
The
of stuff
Black Cat
happening right now.
Pirates.
Tons of stuff happening right now. But I think the most important part here is Zoro's story. We get to go deep into Zoro's story and his childhood and how he grew up and what makes him so, ambitious to be the world's greatest swordsman. Skeeve, you want to take this one? You want to talk about Zoro and his backstory a little bit?
yeah, of course. Zoro is one of my favorite characters of all time. The vice captain of the Straw Hat Pirates.
The first mate.
Yes, the first mate. Sorry, first mate. And also Moss Head. Um, the great man with the three sword style. I can continue on for days. But so yeah, we start off with this episode with Zoro in the well, and he's doing really well for himself, no pun intended. And
Those are my kind of jokes. Like usually I'm doing those. That's a good one.
yeah. And so he eventually gets this like grapple, and it's like a makeshift which he also sees. Sorry, he also sees Mary's body there, and he's like kind of unfazed, but he's like sad at the same time. But let's go back. He has this grapple, and he's trying to get out of this well, and he just flings it up, but it's not working. And so his next thought is to climb it, just go gung ho. And so while he's climbing it, we have a flashback for about 7 years back to the Shimotsuki village, where he was there in the Ishuin dojo, where he and others have trained in a sword style of like a kempo or sword style. And in this dojo, he's fighting an opponent, and the choreography is really, really good. It's Zoro, as you can see, is like losing, he's getting defeated, and eventually ends up losing the fight. Zoro walks away with anger, and as he's walking away, he takes off his mask, and the opponent that he was facing walks up to him behind him, and then they take off their mask, and lo and behold, it's a female girl named Kuina, and Zoro has lost to a girl. Whether his ego is bruised or the fact that he just like is really upset that he can't beat a girl, kind of like messes with him. So that's like a little bit. Jazz, you want to talk a little bit more about the backstory as well?
Nah, I mean, you nailed it, man. It's just tragic.
I
And
I
yeah.
really I really don't think Zoro cared that she was a girl. I think he just cared that he wasn't number one. I think that mattered more to him than the fact that it was a girl. Because there's nothing that he said or acted like that made it seem like it stung more because it was a girl. And in that way, I kind of respect Zoro even more. Like he doesn't see her gender as a handicap. And
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I
and
apologize.
and I think that's really, really cool because we see that she knows that her gender is going to be a handicap for her. She says women are not as strong as men. Right now, I'm on the same side with you, but you're going to keep growing and I'm going to stop. That's just like, nature. Uh, and she's going to say that, you're going to get bigger, you're going to get stronger, you're going to get faster. And at some point, I'm not. So she knows that she's never going to be the greatest swordsman. And he tells her, don't talk that way because if you're talking that way about yourself and I'm not as good as you, that's insulting me too, right? In a roundabout way, which is kind of true. But they make a pact after they have this amazing fight because he claims that the only reason that she's winning is because they're not using real swords. So they decide to have a fight with real swords, and he comes out wearing two swords, and she goes, uh, you might need more than that to beat me, which is a reference to the three sword style. But they do fight, and it's a very well choreographed fight. These child actors are amazing in all that they're doing here. I think they were fantastic. But again, he loses, right? And he's really upset because he thinks he's not going to be the world's greatest. And then she gives this speech about how, women have it a lot harder because they end up not growing and becoming as skilled. I kind of felt really, really bad for her because I was like, yo, don't say that about yourself. I felt like I wanted to give her a pep talk. I'm like, you can do whatever you want. Don't let that hold you down. But
Aw.
that's kind of like what Zoro does, but in his own way. And says, we're both going to train. We're going to fight each other. And one of us is going to be the greatest swordsman to ever live.
Or
Which,
swords women.
or swordswoman, exactly,
Mm-hmm.
to ever live, which I thought is really, really cool. Look at our feminist Zoro. What you call it? He's like, I don't see gender. All I see is winning. That's all it is.
Yo,
And
wait till you get to in the anime. Wait till you get to Punk Hazard because that's really on display there.
oh, really? Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
love that about Zoro. But mysteriously, Kuwani dies.
Kuina.
Queena dies. They never explain why. Up to where I am in the anime, we don't know either. And I'm just confused. I'm just like, what just happened? She was perfectly fine. Did she, get COVID? Like, I don't understand what happened. She just like dropped dead. And he says that he wants her sword, which is a bold claim to make. Right at her funeral, but he says that they made a promise to each other, and he wants to use her sword to fulfill that promise, which is very, very touching to me because, you know, I have a friend who passed away and we went on a hiking trip. And when we wanted to go and complete that hiking trip, we took his backpack with us, right?
Aw.
To honor him. And the fact that Zoro is taking her sword with him on this journey kind of feels the same way. And I love that for him. I think that's so cool. And it's the sword that he keeps protective of. That's the one that he puts in his mouth, right? It's the last one that he'll use. He won't use it unless he really, really needs to. I really love this backstory and this connection to this person that he doesn't even like. he like he that's his rival, right? And it's just a beautiful backstory, and I just really, really loved it. I don't know. Any thoughts on that, Jazz?
It's just like the anime, and I know you're confused about how she passed away. In
Yeah.
the anime, they didn't really confirm it until a bit later of how she died.
Okay.
But all we knew is that it was an accident and she just passed away, and that was that. And
It,
so,
it was the fact that she fell down the stairs in the anime.
well, Ski was
Uh,
trying not to give it away, but
no, 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 no.
okay.
I mean, it's
They do say that in the animes. Like
yeah.
Oh, they've
we're
already said it to you? Okay.
yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know exactly where they said it, but that's why.
That's
Yeah.
fine. We can spoil up to the anime, up to the point where the episode is that overlapping with it. I think that's fine
Okay.
to tell people the difference. If we find out something later on, yeah, don't spoil that.
Okay.
I was kind of hoping for she didn't die. I was like, yo, as long as I didn't see it, I believe she could still be alive. But in this one, we see her body, and I'm like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, no,
Because
she's dead. There's no
yeah,
coming back from
But
that.
that's also the confusing part because in the anime, which I think not East Blue Saga, but Log Town,
yeah,
Zoro runs into one of Smoker's like subordinates,
lieutenants, yeah,
lieutenants, and Zoro has like this faint memory of that, or like a deja vu moment where it's like, oh, is that Kuina? Because she's also a woman swordsman, same hairstyle, looks like her. But
yeah.
they never really like bring talk about that later on. So maybe it was just like a quick thing, but it was like
That's
really significant.
Really? That's so
Yeah,
crazy because that looks so like if you watch the anime and Lockdown is part of the East Blue
East Blue
Saga, I
Saga.
believe. So technically it
Mhm.
should have been part of this. Uh yeah, they make it look like it's a big deal. And you're telling me 1,000 episodes later we don't get a
Yeah,
conclusion of it?
but
Wow.
the thing is, Ichiro always does an amazing job reverting back to everything he's ever talked about. So maybe not now, maybe in a couple episodes, 100 episodes later, we might get the reveal of that.
That's crazy. All right, cool. All right. So as this is happening, Usopp climbs to the window and tries to tell Kaya what's happening. And then Kaya is like, "Why are you thinking this?" She doesn't want to hear these things about Kahador. Kahador is someone who basically raised her for the last 5 years. She's not ready to hear that. She doesn't want to hear that Pippin's dead, and she knows that Usopp tells these stories. Usopp tells stories all the time. He exaggerates. He makes up things, and she's okay with it because they're fun, they're exciting. But she said, "This one isn't fun. I don't like these stories." And she tells him to leave, and she slaps him.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Whoa!" Suddenly got the strength, huh, Kaya? And then Usopp says, "You know what? No, I'm not gonna leave. I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna protect you." And whether you want me to or not, which shows that even though Usopp is this scaredy cat coward, he is brave when he needs to be. He's brave when it comes to his friends. And I do love that about him, and I feel like that's a little bit of a change from the anime. I feel like in the anime they show him a lot more of a coward, and in here he's only a coward when you know other people are not on the line. He's just like, oh, well, let's not fight this person. Let's run away. And he is a little bit. He has a little bit of self-preservation more than cowardness. Whereas in the anime, I feel like it's cowardness. What are your thoughts on that?
This is the beauty of One Piece. Like every character, you're gonna see them develop and grow, and you're gonna start falling in love with them. Like, not like in a romantic way, but like, like, yo, I got your back. I'm rooting for you. I hope you succeed. And they do a phenomenal job of character development and the world building here. And this is just part of it. And I'm glad they did it in live action.
Nice. Ski, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, same. Great character development as noted, and they're keeping true to the characters.
True, true. Okay. So as this backstory of Zoro is going on, he's climbing this wall, very Batman, the Dark Knight Rises out of the tunnel, and he makes it out. As he makes it out, we see the Marines carrying Luffy back. And as they're carrying Luffy, Luffy decides to throw up on everybody. So
Classic Luffy.
at least the poison is out of his system now that he threw up. And he tells them that he has to go back and save Kaya and the rest. And Kobe, who does everything by the books now, says no, and so does what's the other guy's name? Hemepha,
FFO,
Helmeppo.
Helmepho, and
MFO.
Helmepho says that his dad defeated that pirate. So whatever Luffy's saying isn't true. As they're doing that, they run into Zoro. Zoro knocks him out, and he goes, "I didn't even." Luffy was like, "How do you know to come save me?" He was like, "I didn't. You were just on the way."
No, he
This
usually
is the
has
funny
this
part about
running
Zoro.
joke. Yeah, Jazz, go.
Okay, so the running joke throughout the anime is Zoro will always get lost. This is
Yeah.
Zoro being lost. He had no idea where he was
Oh,
going, even though he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm heading back to the mansion." It's like the mansion's that way, bro.
But he'll have the most confidence of thinking he knew that he was going the right way the entire time.
that's
And
so
it's
funny.
wild. Like, in the anime, he'll be like, "Oh, there's a tall building," and then he goes to the tall building. Like, you see him running toward it, and then somehow end up 20 miles away behind. Like, I don't know how. Like, we don't know how it happens, but Zoro just ends up lost always.
That's so funny. You're right. That is a running gag. Now that I think about it, they do make a reference to that quite often.
hmm
That's
In
pretty
fact,
funny.
on the memes online, like we were like, Zoro got so lost. He's in a different anime now. He's in Demon Slayer.
Yeah. And he's also slashing the dragon from Dragon Ball Z.
That's
Thinking
so
he's
funny.
Kaido.
Yeah. Oh, he's also slashing Kaido. Oh yeah, that too. Never mind.
Oh
That's
man.
funny.
All right, that's funny.
The Eternal Dragon.
All right. So at this point, they get back to the mansion, and while this is happening, Kaya,
Shut up.
Usopp, and Nami finally convince her that Kahador is evil, and they run between the walls, and that's very new because usually in the anime is very different. They're out in the woods, they're out in the forest, and they're being
Mhm.
chased by a hypnotist.
Django.
Django the
Django-
Turncoat. Yeah, who is like the lieutenant commander, of the pirates. And there are a whole bunch of pirates out there too that are here to ransack the village, not just kill Kaya. They were going to destroy the entire village, and Kaya was just going to be a casualty and part of it. So there was this whole scheme, and it's very different because he doesn't have this entire ship of pirates. And one of the things that really pisses off Luffy is that he had plans to kill his own men. And he was like, what kind of pirate would kill his own men? That really pissed off Luffy.
Mhm.
So it was one of those things where it's very different. In here, they're just in the mansion and they're just running away, and they finally get to a place and they see everybody. And Usopp tries to help, but he's still Usopp. He's still not that great yet.
It's okay, buddy.
It's okay. You'll get there. And then Luffy finally shows up, and Luffy fights Kahador while Zoro fights the other Black Cat pirates.
Sean
and
and Gucci.
Yeah, Bucci. Yeah. And it's a pretty good fight. It's a really good fight, and we get to see a lot of cool moves. What were your thoughts about the fight scene? Steve, you wanna go?
Yeah, of course. I loved it more in the anime. You get a lot more exaggeration. Zoro again is using three sword style in the anime, but for some reason in the live action they've only been using two sword style. It
Mhm.
isn't until he gets super serious where he does use three sword style at the end.
Yeah.
And the running joke, I guess, in the live action is when Luffy ever attacks, he calls out his attacks, but Zoro hasn't been calling out any of his
Yeah.
attacks. So he uses some pretty powerful attacks to defeat these henchmen in the anime. But again, he defeats them in the live action as well. But I think he only fights one of the henchmen, which is Buchi, or the bigger one with the two swords. Because he
Yeah.
always fights like the swordsman. And I think Usopp, well, nonetheless, I think they do a fantastic job showcasing the fight scene as well. Just getting
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah. It
Mhm.
would have been nice to see Usopp versus Django the Turncoat. I think that was
Yes.
a really good fight in the anime. But Django wasn't in this one, so we didn't really get to see it. Maybe we'll see him later on. You never know. That would be cool. But yeah, I really, really like the fight scenes. I thought they were really good. I don't think any of the fight scenes are going to be better than the anime. So it's kind of like, were they good enough? Is really the
Mhm.
question here, because there's no way any fight scene could be better than an anime fight scene. Like, I think animes are known for fight scenes. Like,
Yeah.
Well, technically, if you think of Marvel, they do such a phenomenal job with like the CGI and the wires and everything, and they have like actual stunt coordinators that help you out and experts. This one, I'm sure, like the budget wasn't there, but had they had the budget, I think Zoro would have been doing like flips and turns, and Sanji would have been flying, and Luffy would have been doing a lot more techniques.
yeah. We haven't met Sanji yet, but Sanji, we'll talk about him too, because I've seen some
Next
behind the scenes.
episode.
Yeah, I've seen some behind the scenes stuff, and he did almost all of his own stunts. That's insane. We'll talk
Wow.
about that
Mhm.
later. That's really cool.
He can also
Yes,
cook like in real life. Like
Yeah, he
he's an
cooks in real life
actual
too.
like really good chef. So
He's real life Sanji, which is great.
hmm
All right, so they have this fight, and then he does the gamma gamma bell, and he kind of just like headbutts him. I love that Luffy has these like moves. Like there's the gum gum pistol, which is a kick. Then there's the gum gum
No,
whip.
it's a punch.
Oh, it's a punch. The pistol is a punch. The whip is the kick. The
hmm
bell is the headbutt,
Yes.
and I think the axe is like this like front wide kick or something like that, where he goes up in the air and then
like an
Yep.
crushes them.
Battle
axe.
axe. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then we also see the gum gum Gatling, which he like just punches like 100 times at once, which is
Like a
really cool.
Gatling gun.
Like a Gatling
100
gun.
bullets. hmm
Mhm.
These are really really cool. I love to see those, and I love to see that he's actually like calling them out. Because
Yeah,
every go
going back
for
to
it.
this fight in general against Kuro of the Black Cats, he's in the anime. I think he just I kind of forgot, but he kind of is having fun with it, or he's just like making moves up and trying to fight him and trying to get over his maneuver. But in this one, the live action, he's very like in tune with his like power. He's like focusing. He's like in it from the beginning instead of like fooling around. So they take a very serious tone on his the fight scenes.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. To me, it seemed like Luffy didn't know how to fight as good in the beginning of the anime, and then as the show goes on more and more, he gets better and better at fighting. But in here, it looks like he's already a pretty decent fighter from the very beginning. Is that a correct interpretation, or am I just like tripping?
No, you're correct. They had to do that just to save time. They can't
Okay,
show the full development over 8 episodes that cover 60 anime episodes. So
gotcha.
if they're gonna keep up that pace, they cannot show all the development.
Yeah, and to make up for that, they showed a little bit of backstory of him and his uncle, and the fact that they were training. So I did notice that too. All right, so basically they save the day, and they go and they say, "How can I reward you?" They're like, "Well, we do need a ship," so they take him out to the ship, and they say, "Well, you know what? Mary did die, for this, so we're going to name it the Going Mary." Now, is there any significance to it being called the Going Merry? Because it's a weird, like, I know that is reference to Mary, the guy who was the shipyard guy. But why the Going Merry? Is that like just a nautical thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I answered my question.
Yeah. Like I wish there was a better answer for it, but yeah, no, that's really what it is. It's like
Okay,
ships
I
just
don't
have names. That's it.
know. Okay,
Yeah.
so Going is just a typical ship name, I guess. Okay,
Mhm.
sounds good to me. I'll buy it. I'm convinced. All right, and then Usopp got a kiss, which like my man,
My man.
my man. He didn't get the kiss in the anime. In the anime, he did not get a kiss. So I don't know
The
what's up with that.
reason for that is that when One Piece first started, right? It really was geared toward like, you know, preteens, teenagers, and whatnot. Like it wasn't meant to be a romance thing. It was simply meant to be an adventure manga, right?
Yeah,
And then because it got so popular and everyone kept up with it, Oda, the writer, realized that okay, the audience is getting older, and so over time he has shifted on that stance, and he has added more elements to it besides just having fun and going on adventures. Like he added some really serious themes in the second half of the Grand Line, which we'll get to way later. Uh, but that's what happened is that over time he has added it on, and in the early episodes you don't see it at all, but
yeah.
then over time you do see it more.
I do notice that. I noticed when I was watching this, it was very childlike and innocent in the beginning, and then it gets like you see slowly more and more blood, and then it also gets a little pervy, to be honest. I don't know why, but there's a lot of shots of like Nami and like other people and Sanji being a little creepy in it, which I noticed. I don't know if you guys did, but I was like, yeah, man.
We noticed.
Some of these shots, they're pretty angled to certain body parts, and I'm just like, this is not a kid show anymore. They're just assuming that the kids who are watching it have grown up, and now this is what they want to see, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just a part of anime. It's called fan service. They do it just to keep a younger male audience more engaged. Um, it is what it
I
is. Like it's you know, I know how you feel, man. I feel the
It's
same way.
weird.
You just gotta deal with it. Like that's always gonna be there. But then the story ends up being so good. That's what you're really there for.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, you were definitely there for the story. Like these cartoons don't do anything for me in terms of like the way they're drawn and stuff like that. I don't care if they're wearing a burqa or they're wearing a bikini. They're just cartoons to
Right.
me. Like, but there are weirdos out there, and I guess fan service is an equal opportunity thing. You gotta make everyone happy.
Yep.
No offense to you weirdos out there. If that's what you're into, hey, no harm, no foul. All right. So, let's see what happens. I love the part where you get to see Luffy sitting on his spot, the spot all the way on top of the Mary. I thought that was really
Yeah.
cool. I like that. And yeah, and then the thing that's different about this is that Caldor got away. You see him rowing away, and that doesn't happen in the anime. So we might get to see him again.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's interesting.
we never talked about Kalidor and the reason why he always took his hands up to his glasses.
Oh, why?
That was like a character trait that he had when he saw him as a butler in the anime. He would always do this thing where he took his palm and then
Yeah.
fixed his glasses with it. That's because when he was Kuro the pirate,
Black cat.
the black cat pirate, he had like those gloves with the swords on
Nails.
them.
Yeah.
And then in order for him not to hit his glasses with it, he would move his hand up like this to his eye. And so they
Ah.
did a really good job keeping that consistent in the live action.
Ah, interesting.
And people
interesting.
didn't
Yeah,
notice it.
I also think that his glasses broke when Luffy punched him,
Mhm.
which is a consistent thing in the anime. So I guess when Luffy punches someone's glasses, that's the end of it.
That's
Rip Kobe.
funny. That's cool.
Kobe's gonna be blind.
Oh yeah.
Alright.
Where
Oh,
do you
yeah,
get your glasses fixed?
And we see a little bit more of Kobe and Guard in this episode.
Garp.
What are your Garp? Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I am so glad they showed them playing Go together. And, you know, Garp is like, ha, I beat you. Keep going. Play again. And they
Yeah.
keep going back and forth and keeps beating him. And he's like, yo, son, you're indecisive. Right? You're playing defensive. You have to be on the offense every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Make your moves, be decisive, get it done. And guess what? He beats Garp.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Like that's it. That's how you show character development. It was just done so well. Like I enjoyed that every minute of it.
I also like that. I thought that was really, really cool. And then at the end they show Usopp, who is now part of the pirates, and he goes, yes, Captain Usopp is joining it. And then Luffy's like, you're not the captain. Which is very familiar with the anime. He does the same thing. And then he draws them a Jolly Roger, and this Jolly Roger looks a lot more like Usopp than it does like Straw Hat, which I thought is really funny, right out of the anime. Cool little thing right there. And then the Marines start shooting at them, and then Luffy looks through his telescope or binoculars and goes, Grandpa? And that was a big shock to me because 300 episodes in, I still have no idea who his grandpa is. And I just learned from this show that it is Garp. That was cool. I really like that. Even the fact that I've watched this anime and there were still things in the show that were able to surprise me was really cool.
About that, you are on the arc where they actually do reveal that.
Okay, all right, fair. So
At
I'm
the
about
very
to
end,
learn it.
but it's there, yeah. So if you happen to watch the anime like through episode, what was it, 380? You
361.
would have known it. 361, yeah. You would have known this. So,
Okay.
but beyond
almost there.
episode 361 in the anime, they haven't revealed anything so far. So
yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Very
they've
cool.
done a
I
great
wasn't
job
mad
with that.
though. I wasn't mad at. I'm not mad at the fact that the show is spoiling a few things for the anime, because it makes the show like surprising a little bit. There's still things in the show that like I didn't expect. So I'm glad that I'm watching the show at the same rate as that I am going with the anime. It's like parallel. I like that. I enjoy it that much. I don't want too much to be lost. So I might finish all these episodes and then rewatch it and see what else I can catch. I think that'll make it even more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also want to bring up the fact that the attention to detail when it comes to the ship that they're on, the marine ship, where Garp and Kobe and MFO are, and where Kobe and Garp play this game, you could see the lights swinging back and forth. You could see the desk moving. You could see the drinks also shifting back and forth. So they do a really good job making you still believe that they're on this ship and it's rocking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool because there'll be parts in the ship, even in future episodes, where things will be hanging from like these chains, and you'll see them go back and forth. Even
Mhm.
when I believe someone gets hurt, they're on a table, and it just swings a little bit. It's really, really cool. I'm a big fan of how they immerse us into believing that they're all on these ships and not these stages.
Yes.
Yeah, very cool. All right, well, that was the end of episode 4. Then anything else we've missed?
No, I think
No.
we got it.
Think we got it. All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you everybody for joining us. Guy, we'll have you back to do episode 5 and 6, and then 7 and 8,
Yeah, look forward to it.
and then we'll be done. Thank you everybody for joining us, and until next time, guys. Salaam, nerds.
Peace.